We have approximately up to 2,500 ingredients in urine, and we know only about 800. So what is so special? In this 800 we have the antidotes against the problems what we have in our body.
I've actually gone more into the anatomical elements of urine therapy and what is actually the trace elements inside it that facilitate reaching other dimensions and realms.
Yep.
So that's really what has attracted me a lot to urine therapy.
The Water of Life practice works at the physical level. You know, it takes out the heavy metals, for instance, by your breath particularly, of course. And then it works at the emotional level because it re-equilibrates. You say. It rebalances your emotions, because you're all the time, of course, you need to rebalance. And then it works at the mental level because it works deeply on your brain glands.
Actually, it is an orthomolecular treatment, if you want to put it that way, because you're using substances that are normally present in the body to, fight disease. That's Dr. Pauling's definition, orthomolecular medicine, orthomolecular psychiatry. In 1968, in Science magazine, he defined it as the use of substances normally present in the body to treat disease and promote health.
It is something that the human race has been accustomed to during the whole period of its existence. It is a food, an essential food required for life. Aspirin is not, or phenacetin and other cold medicines. They are not foods, they are not required for life. They are chemical substances that the human body is unaccustomed to.
Dr. Pauling and I were talking, and toward the end of his life, he developed prostate cancer, and I guess that's what he died of. But he was a scientist to the end, he was an incredible scientist. And so he made a science out of his fatal disease, and he tried to fight it by building up antibodies to it by drinking his own urine, thinking that way he would create antibodies. There'd be an immune reaction to the cancer. He credited it toward his longevity. He lived to be 93. So I don't know if it worked. I mean, we all die eventually.
I say that orthomolecular medicine is the prevention of disease and preservation of good health, or the control of disease, treatment of disease, by using molecules that are normally present in the human body and often are required for life, such as the vitamins, but by changing their concentrations, perhaps 100-fold or 1,000-fold from the concentrations in which they are normally present.
I think it's a reasonable thing to do if you're in a desperate situation like Dr. Pauling was at that point, where there is nothing else except either emasculating and disfiguring surgery. And so I think it was an alternative that he tried.
My interest really became deeper with urine therapy when I found, through case studies with top professors, university teachers, that there are traces of dimethyltryptamine in urine. And what I actually found, I feel it's a very profound case study, was that there was a test taken on about 120 students. Some of these were schizophrenic patients.
Pauling's claims for vitamin C have developed from his research into the causes of mental illness. He believes schizophrenia is the product of an imbalance of the chemicals in the brain related to vitamin intake. His research team is analyzing the urine of schizophrenics by gas chromatography to see if any recognizable deficiencies exist. Pauling has christened this field orthomolecular medicine.
With the schizophrenics, they had found that the levels of dimethyltryptamine in the urine were 47% higher than what they were in regular people, which was only at 5%. I know the background about dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, through how the ancient shamans use it in the Amazon jungle. It has been synthetically created. You know, we have mind-altering drugs like LSD, magic mushrooms, and marijuana. And dimethyltryptamine is actually used in the Amazon jungle in the form of a tea, which is called ayahuasca tea. The people that are drinking it or ingesting it to travel to different realms because of the levels of dimethyltryptamine. And dimethyltryptamine has, I guess, been known to, from my research, been known to be used as an interface between the higher realms and our physical reality. So basically, if we were to come up with thoughts or if we were to have visions, this could be proven by the heightened release of dimethyltryptamine into the bloodstream. And I feel that this is a real breakthrough in, I guess, conventional medicine. It's not conventional though, because nothing about spirituality is conventional, as we know. I really believe through urine therapy and really understanding the elements within urine therapy, such as dimethyltryptamine, it will really give us answers into the future to help these people that really suffer from these conditions.
You can help schizophrenics quite a bit with nutrition and vitamin therapy. They have to understand they're not like other people, you see. Other people, they drink alcohol, they smoke cigarettes, they smoke ganja, they shoot narcotics, they take amphetamines, and they're not much the worse for wear for it. But if a schizophrenic tries to do that, he's messing with very genetically fine, sensitive material because he's close up there to God already. So they get really knocked for a loop quite often that way. In fact, about 50% of the schizophrenia I see these days is drug-induced.
So you get them off the drugs and more on the vitamins, or are you allowed to do
Exactly, yeah. Well,
criticised for doing things like that?
well, if I try to get them off the psychiatric drugs, no, I'm not really criticized. It's just, it's very difficult to do once they've been on them for a while because A, they're destroying their higher critical powers. So they become like, well, vegetables is too much of an extreme statement, but to some degree, all these psychiatric drugs are basically brain disabling, and so they're not doing you any good. I never see anybody going back to college or going to work after they've been on these large doses of psych drugs. It just doesn't happen.
So do you think there's a huge sort of force from, say, the pharmaceutical companies to push that aspect through? Are you going to be pushed out of doing what you're doing? Do you feel pressure there?
I don't feel pressure, but there is pressure, of course. There's newspaper articles planted all the time about how this vitamin therapy is possibly toxic, or this vitamin therapy has been shown to be ineffective. And it's always the ones that are really becoming well known that they start to throw rocks at. Yeah. Right, so I mean, and also they're attacking the testing that we do, the nutritional testing, like what is that test, the cardiac test that they're now throwing rocks at because it's becoming so popular, because it's a good test. It really tells you how good your nutrition is.
Can you use some of your psychology on them then? And
well,
manipulate it in the way that you need it, you know what I mean? It's like, obviously they're doing it, it's a monetary thing.
That's why I'm here, you see.
I really feel that they have a lot to teach us about the spiritual realms, the different dimensions, parallel realities, a lot of the unconventional stuff that does not make sense to us and really falls in the category of metaphysics and quantum physics and the things that we cannot understand. So I believe there's a lot of information on what they are saying with multiple personalities. There is a lot to learn for all of us. It really makes you wonder what is their core foundation? Why have they chosen to be this being this person with this condition in this material world? What are we to learn from this? So it really spikes my curiosity in a big way, and like I said, I'm a very curious person. I like to really find out the core fundamental basics behind something that I'm sure is very simple, yet we in the conventional world make it so complicated and difficult. That's just our nature, right?
How does the treatment that you're advocating for people with mental illness differ from the kind of treatment that's suggested by ordinary medical people?
Well, the treatment of schizophrenia now by ordinary medical people consists in some part of the use of chemotherapy, drugs, synthetic drugs or substances prepared from plant products, powerful alkaloids, to which the human body is not accustomed and which often have very severe side effects. Also such methods as electroshock therapy and, of course, supportive psychotherapy. Now, the methods that are included under orthomolecular psychiatry are the use of substances normally present in the human body to which the human body is accustomed and which in general are far less toxic, have far fewer side effects than these synthetic drugs. I wrote my paper, Orthomolecular Psychiatry, as a result of my seeing a connection between some basic biological studies that had been made and some empirical results that had been obtained by a number of investigators. The idea that there's nothing wrong with the brain or the body of a mentally ill person, but rather that there's been something wrong with society or with the environment has, I think, been a pernicious one. It is good that psychiatrists, for the most part, are now attempting to correct the biochemical imbalance.